All right, so it's 12:05, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Yeah, welcome to our course registration and student panel. We're really happy to have all of you join us here. Um, so first of all, welcome to Carleton. Congratulations on finishing high school and accepting your university offers. We hope you're excited to get started in September, and we're looking forward to meeting all of you on campus pretty soon. If you don't know who we are, the Carleton Computer Science Society is a student-run organization that represents and advocates for all undergraduate computer science students at Carleton. And what that essentially means is that throughout the year, we're going to be hosting tons of events and offering a lot of services that are meant to improve your experience as a CS student here at Carleton. And yeah, by being in the CS program, you are automatically a member and you are welcome to attend all of our events throughout the year for free. So yeah, a quick disclaimer. This presentation is primarily for students in the Bachelor of Computer Science program. If you are in one of the new Bachelor of Cybersecurity or Data Science programs, we recommend that you reach out to the undergraduate advisors for help, just because as student volunteers, we do not have much experience with these programs yet. So yeah, your best source of information will be the undergraduate advisors. We have their emails mentioned on the slide here. There will still be some information covered in this presentation that will be relevant to you, but for specifics like what courses you should select, we recommend that you reach out to them. A little bit about us. So my name is Jack. I'm going to be entering my third year of computer science this fall, and I'm the director of academics for the CCSS this year.
All right, hi. My name is Kimia. I'm going into my second year at Carleton, and I'm Director of Operations for the CCSS this year.
Hi, I'm Veronica. It's great to meet you all. I'm currently going into my third year of computer science in the fall as well, and I'm the president of the CCSS this year.
Mylin, do you want to quickly introduce yourself as well?
Sure. Hi, everybody. I'm Mylin Reed. I'm the school administrator. I pretty much look after the school schedule, the budget. So I work very closely with CCSS on different events and stuff. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask.
All right, awesome. So yeah, how we're going to go about this today is for the first about 30 minutes or so, we're going to try to quickly cover a lot of basic information that's relevant to course registration. And then in the last hour, we will switch to the live Q&A with our student panel. And yeah, at any point, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat and we'll try to answer them as we go or at the end. And then if you have any questions after the event, we will be posting these slides and the recording of this event on our website, so you can check that out at any point. And if you would like, you can also join the CCSS Discord. We have the invite linked here. So yeah, if you have any questions, we have lots of upper years there that are happy to help you out, or you can just get to know some people before you start at university. So as students, we can offer you support and guidance based on our personal experiences. However, officially, your primary source of information are the School of Computer Science undergraduate advisors. We have their email mentioned here. So any questions you have about your program requirements, course selection, or anything like that, you can reach out to them at any point via email, or you can schedule an appointment to meet them in person. And then if you have any questions just about the registration process generally, then there's the student registration assistance team to help you out if you're running into any issues with actually registering for courses on Carleton Central. So some important dates and deadlines that you should keep in mind. We have a lot of them on the slide here, but just a couple of them that I want to focus on. So registration for both the fall and winter semesters for incoming students starts between July 2nd and July 4th. The exact time that you can register depends on your time ticket, which you can now see through Carleton Central. And yeah, it is strongly encouraged that you register for both terms as soon as your time ticket opens because course seats are offered on a first come first served basis. So the longer you wait to register, the more likely it is that a course you want can fill up. So yeah, register as soon as you can. The next one is the tuition payment deadline for the fall semester. So that is August 25th. Or if you are eligible for OSAP, then you do get a slight extension, I believe a couple of weeks into September. Um, Academic orientation day is September 2nd, so you're basically gonna have an introductory presentation covering a lot of information about the program, and then the CCSS also has another presentation that day, so we will hopefully get to meet all of you there in person. And the rest of the deadlines here are related to adding or dropping courses and just making registration changes. So essentially, what that means is, although you should register for courses as soon as your time ticket opens, you do have until like a few weeks into the semester to make any changes. So if you register for a course now and decide later that you don't want to take it, or you want to switch it for a different course, you can do that for until the deadlines mentioned here. And you will notice that there are different deadlines associated with early fall, late fall, and full fall courses. So early fall and late fall courses are half semester courses that run for the first half of the semester. So before reading week for early fall courses, and then second half of the semester for late fall courses. And then full fall courses just run throughout the semester for the full 4 months. And yeah, they have different deadlines associated with them for registration. So we have a lot of them mentioned here. And then for a full list of date and deadlines, you should check out the academic calendar, which we have linked on the top right. So some more information about courses. If you've already started making your timetable, then you may have noticed that a lot of courses have a lecture section and an associated tutorial or lab. So lectures are the main part of the course where your instructor will just cover the content of the course via lectures. And it's also common to have any midterms during those class lecture times. And then the other aspect of courses are tutorials or labs. So these are basically additional working sessions or workshops led by TAs just to solidify your understanding of the course content. The exact format varies from course to course, but for example, in your CS courses, you may work on some short programming problems, or in your math courses, you may have some weekly quizzes. But yeah, that's going to depend depend on the course. So check out the course outline once it comes out in September to figure out exactly how tutorials or labs will work. And yeah, if a course has both a lecture and tutorial, then you must register for one of those lecture sections and then an associated tutorial section. So for example, if you want to take Comp 1405A, for example, then you must also register for 1405A1, A2, A3, or any one of those, whichever works best with your timetable. So some more questions we frequently get. How much is each course worth? So usually one course lasts one term, so 4 months, and is worth 0.5 credits. Our degree as a whole is 20 credits, so you will have about 40 courses over your time here. Some courses might be worth 1 credit, and they either run over 2 terms, so for 8 months, or they just run at twice the speed in a single term. Should you register for both the fall and winter terms? Yes, you should. Even if you're not entirely sure about what courses you want to take, we recommend that you tentatively register in something just as soon as possible. And then, as you mentioned, you have a lot of time to make any changes. Can you register for 2000 plus level courses? Yes, if depending on the course. So you'll notice that courses have some may have some prerequisite requirements. So if you look at the calendar description, they may mention something like you must have taken this other course before you can take an upper year course. So just look out for those requirements. But if you satisfy any of the requirements mentioned, then yeah, you can take a 2000 level or even a higher course, and there's no problem with that. How many 1000 level credits or first year courses can I take for my entire program? So there is a limit of 7 credits for 1000 level courses. So you can take that means you can take about 14 first-year courses throughout your program, and then if you go over that limit, then any additional first-year courses that you take will not count towards your program. And can you take less than 5 courses per term? Yeah, again, yes, you can. It is fairly common for people to take just 4 courses a semester or maybe even 3. It is just important to keep in mind, though, that this could affect your status as a full-time student, and that affects your scholarship eligibility or other funding eligibility and a bunch of other things. So we have a couple of pages linked here with more information about that. And if you are considering taking fewer courses per term, then you can also reach out to the academic advisors to discuss your situation specifically. So a little bit about the comp courses that you're going to be taking in your first year. So the first course you're going to be taking is Comp 1405 or Intro to CS1. So this course assumes that you have no prior programming experience and starts with the fundamental concepts like variables and if statements, for loops, functions, and things like that. The next course you'll be taking is Comp 1406. So that builds on Intro to CS1 and covers concepts like object-oriented programming, some basic data structures, and then concepts like recursion, analyzing the runtime or space complexity of your programs and stuff like that. Comp 1805 or Discrete Structures 1 is less of a programming course and more of a math course, but the concepts covered are still very relevant to computer science. So you'll be learning things like logic or proof techniques, set theory, graph theory, analyzing algorithms and stuff like that. If you are coming in with a decent amount of programming experience and you think that most of the concepts covered in Comp 1405 and 1406 are things that you are already familiar with, you can consider taking the accelerated version of those courses, so the Z section, which essentially covers the content of both courses in the full semester. It's primarily meant for students in the Shopify Dev degree or the Bachelor of Cybersecurity programs, but as a BCS student, if you had an admission average of 90% or higher, you can request permission to register in that course as well. You just need to submit a registration override request, which we will talk about more in a second. And what that, so yeah, the course content is exactly the same as the normal sections, but it just covers them at twice the speed for each course. So instead of spending 12 weeks on Comp 1405, you'll complete it in the first 6 weeks of the term. Yeah, we also have the slide about your required second year comp courses and the stats course that we are required to take. I'm not going to fully read through this, but if you are interested, you feel free to refer to this after the event. And yeah, there's just a quick description of what each course covers. So the first year math courses that you'll be taking are Calculus 1. So this is pretty similar to grade 12 calculus. And it basically mostly covers limits and derivatives. And then near the end, you'll touch a little bit upon integrals, but for the majority of the course, it'll just be limits and derivatives. And yeah, if you did well in grade 12 calculus, you have nothing to worry about. It's fairly similar. And then the other course is linear algebra 1. So that covers concepts like systems of linear equations, matrices, vector spaces, complex numbers, and more. Certain maths minors may require a different maths course. So for example, if you're interested in doing maybe a physics minor, there may be requirements that require that you take other math courses. So yeah, you should look at the requirements for that minor specifically. And then if you have any questions, reach out to the advisors for that department. Certain upper year math electives may also need different first or second year math courses. So again, if you're interested in any upper year math electives, then you should look at the requirements early on so that you can make any adjustments to your first or second year math courses if needed. So how do you actually check the prerequisite requirements for any course? The best way to do that is to check the undergraduate calendar, and I will quickly just open it to show you how that looks. So this is a page listing all of the computer science courses offered at Carleton, for example. And then if you search for any specific course that you're looking for. So let's say Comp 241, for example. In the description, it tells you what the prerequisites are. So in this case, you must have completed Comp 1406 with a minimum grade of C minus to be able to take Comp 1401. And yeah, it's going to be similar for any of these other courses. And you can also, if you're planning your electives, you can also look at this long list of all of the courses and subjects offered at Carleton, and then maybe you're looking for prerequisites for a math course. So again, you can just find the course code here. Maybe you're looking for Math 1800. So yeah, it mentions what the prerequisites are. But yeah, you can find any of the requirements for any course here. And the other way to do that is while making your timetable on Carleton Central, if you click on the title of the course, it opens up a page with a lot of information about it, which also includes information about the prerequisites. And yeah, these prerequisite requirements can change year over year, so you should always refer to the undergraduate calendar to make sure you have updated information. And yeah, as I mentioned earlier, you may need to submit some registration override requests. So what these are essentially just requests to get permission to take courses that you are getting any errors for. So some common use cases could be um, maybe you don't meet all of the prerequisite requirements for a course, but you've maybe received permission from the professor to take it anyway, or a course that you need to take for your degree is full, and you still need to register for it. So in those cases like that, you can submit one of these requests. How to you submit these requests through Carleton Central, and then if you would like a step-by-step guide, we have this video on the site here. So a couple of other points. So these requests are reviewed on a case-by-case basis, and they are not guaranteed to be approved. So we do recommend that you only submit them if you do genuinely believe that you should be able to take a course that you're not able to register for. But if it's super clear why you can't register for something, then your request is most likely going to get rejected anyway. And yeah, these do take a few days to be reviewed. So in the meantime, while you're waiting for a decision, you should plan out alternative courses. And yeah, oh, sorry. And yeah, I'll pass it on to Kimya now for some scheduling tips.
All right, thank you so much, Jack. So for before starting to make your table, if you need to know specifically need to know specifically the courses you need to take or how to distribute them between, first of all, the School of Computer Science has a wonderful first year registration guide that will go through everything. So if you ever needed a guide while you're making a timetable, that's a really good resource. Sorry about that. Now for scheduling advice, there's about 7 points that you can like keep in mind when making your schedule, and that's really good to keep in mind. For the first one, it's all possibilities. So whenever you're doing a course, there's a lot of sections. So there's a lot of different possibilities you can make for each schedule you're making. So add in all the mandatory courses you would like. And then, so for the fall, this can include Comp 1405, which is the first comp course, as well as Math 1007, which is just calculus. Another thing you can do is take courses that you need to take. So take a course that you really need to take, like you have to take, and you know you will be taking it, and then put in all the sections and all the tutorials for it in the schedule. And then you can remove them one by one depending on which one you prefer or don't want to prefer. So this is probably, it may seem overwhelming, but it's a bit easier than having to add the section, then remove it, then add another one to add, because it's a bit difficult to see visually. Whereas this way you can kind of just eliminate them based on what different things. Now, when you're looking at courses, so course syllabus and location are fairly important. So what kind of course it is? Is it online friendly? What's the markdown and do you need to sprint out on campus? So is it online friendly? A lot of courses, when you're registering, they will see section type. It will say mix of in-person or online. It'll say in-person or it'll say just online. So it'll also mention if campus presence is required or not. A lot of people will sometimes prefer taking an online course during a specific time, either because maybe they can't go to campus as much or some or other reason, or it might be just online is easier for you. So that's something you can definitely look at when registering. Another thing is the mark breakdown, which is basically every course you can check their course outline, and it'll basically describe the course and by what you're graded on during that course. So that can be found in the course outline, either in the past year or the when the term starts. The course outline will be available for that class. And another thing is timing wise, you need to sprint across campus. So each like there will you were guaranteed like a 10-minute gap between every classes. That now keep in mind you want to like run from one building or another if you can see where they're located based on their location when it's in person. So keep that in mind when when making your times table. So another thing is morning and evening classes. So are you more of a morning person? Would you rather do all your classes in the morning and then the rest of the day you're free? Do you like to hang out at night? Because then that can mean you can do your classes earlier so that the rest of the day you're free. Or are you more of a night person and do you prefer sleeping in so that you can do your classes later in the day? So these are things based on your personal preference. A lot of people will put like their classes early in the day because they're more awake at night. But a lot of people just like to sleep in, which is completely fair as well. And there, for those people, maybe later classes, also taking into commuting if you need to commute. All those things will reflect when you're actually doing the courses. So another time is lunchtime. So make sure you have time to eat or to rest between classes, especially if you have multiple classes in a day. You're not guaranteed to have a specific hour every single day where you can have lunch. So just try to, if you can, at least make some time so that you're guaranteed some downtime between core classes. So another thing, we've mentioned that time ticket madness. So every course is first come, first serve. So if you have a later time ticket, you can't control when your time ticket is. So unfortunately, if you get a later one, there's a chance that the course you want to take or you might need to take is filled up, and you'll have to join a wait list. And what a wait list is that basically if a course is full and you join the wait list, when a spot opens up, which a lot of times that happens during the start of the term, or before the course starts. Sometimes someone will drop it or they'll move it, and just sometimes a spot will just open up, and you'll be notified of that. And maybe at the beginning of the term, you want to change things around, you want to go into that course, or you might want to take something else, and then you want to switch to this one. It is possible, especially at the very beginning. So as well as when you're making schedules, a lot of times make multiple schedules before your time ticket, just so you have more options when your time ticket does open up, in case maybe a course you want is not available anymore. As well as but just before your time ticket does open up, like on that day, check your schedule that you have that you want to submit and see if there's any changes you need to make last minute. So then you don't make the changes when your time ticket opens up, because then that's a bit of a sorry. Please continue. So another thing is Rate My Prof. If you don't know what Rate My Prof is, it's a website where people can rate professors in different universities, including Carleton. So check Rate My Prof if you want to see if you want to take a course and you want to see reviews about that prof, but always take it with a grain of salt. A lot of times people when they do bad in a course, they will reflect that in the review and reflect on the prof, and a lot of times that's not really reflecting the prof's abilities. So when most of the reviews are positive, then it is more accurate and more credible. So you can also ask up yours too in the Discord in just different ways. And another thing, you can also find old course outlines on the link there. And basically, a lot of times course outlines will change. So if you see one for last year, there's not guaranteed it's going to be the same for this year, especially if it's different prof. So always like take it as a reference point, but not guaranteed. And last but not least, just to end off on scheduling, no schedule is perfect, especially in your first year. But no matter how hard you try, you won't have a perfect schedule because you cannot control when courses are taking place. You just kind of put them in there. So you can mix and match and you can find what works best for you. So personally for me, first year, there was something some people did that I was like, I wish I did that. I wish I did this way. Or there's definitely things that can change. So try your hardest, and that is good enough for that. So for additional information, I'm going to pass it on to Veronica.
Yeah, awesome. So this is just a couple other points that you may want to consider when planning your calendar or just throughout the year. If you're looking for when holidays and reading weeks are, the last day to register for courses, the last day to withdraw from courses, and the last day to get a full refund for your classes, you'd want to consult the Carleton Academic Calendar, which we have linked below. If you're looking at what your scheduling options are and you're trying to kind of plan your courses in a different way, from the one that's recommended, we just have a screenshot from the course registration guide at the bottom right. You can take Math 1007 and Math 1104, so that's Calc 1 and Lineage 1. Those can be taken in either order, and you can also consider taking 1805 in the fall. As an option, if you want to take a Math 2000 plus course in the winter after the 1000 level prerequisite, so if you take Calc 1 in the fall, you'd be able to take Calc 2 in the winter. Or if you take Lineage 1 in the fall, you'd be able to take Lineage 2 in the winter. This could be beneficial to you because if you take the course, the second level course right after the first one, you're less likely to have forgotten what you learned in the 1,000 level prerequisite. And as an additional option, you can also take Stat 2507 in your first year. So now we just have a visual overview of all of the required computer science courses, all with the exception of Comp 3804, which is not required if you're taking the major option instead of honors. But you can see there's a lot of courses that require other courses to be able to take them. But having said that, the something important to consider there is that you need a grade of C minus in Comp 1406, 1805, 2401, or 2404 in order to continue on to certain courses, which you can check in the course, in the prerequisites and preclusions in the undergraduate calendar. If you're looking for which second year course will unlock the most amount of options later, you can consider taking Comp 2401 or 2402 beforehand. So if you're looking at what is a stream, or you're looking at switching streams, what streams are the CS analog of a specialization. And so the current stream options, I believe, are AI, ML, cybersecurity, business, game development, and algorithms. Business and game development are the only streams that have 1,000 level courses. But I believe as of recently, Comp 1501, which is Intro to Computer Game Design, is now optional for the game development stream. Other streams do not come into effect until you reach the 3,000 level courses. So if you realize, oh, I'm interested in a certain field and you want to change your stream, you can do so freely. You can add, drop, or change a stream via Carleton Central as long as you're already within the honors program. As students coming into the program, you are most likely already in honors, but later on, if you do drop down to a major, you're going to need to switch back to the honors in order to add a stream. Streams you can't add via Carleton Central until fall registration ends, but if you're interested in doing so right now, you can contact admissions. Something to consider here in terms of streams as well is that if you want to take a particular course within a stream, you should be able to do so in most cases, but registration priority will be given to people within those streams, so that's just something to keep in mind. If you're looking at changing your program elements, so that's changing your majors to a major to honors, or from honors to major, or adding or removing a stream, or changing, adding, or dropping a stream, you want to do so through the changing program elements section of Carleton Central, which you can navigate to through the main page, and then you want to click into student online applications and then click into change program elements, and you should see something pretty similar to what we have screenshotted on the slide. But something to consider is that first year students will need to wait until full fall registration ends to be able to access this particular forum. Before this, you want to contact admissions for any changes. So you may have encountered the terms breadth elective, free elective, and prohibited course when building your timetable. And so what these are prohibited courses are courses that do not count to your degree. So typically there's like a list of them on the undergraduate calendar, but also if you're looking and you are interested in engineering courses, those are typically a prohibited course. Breadth electives are anything other than comp, stat, math, cybersecurity, or data science, or courses under the Faculty of Engineering. If you go over your breadth elective requirements, they are considered as free electives. And free electives, of course, are additional comp, stat, math, cybersecurity, or data science courses in your degree. An important point there is that a Bachelor of Computer Science students cannot take cybersecurity or data science courses, but if you're currently in a cybersecurity or Bachelor of Data Science program and you want to switch over to Bachelor of Computer Science later, they will count as free electives. And it's always important to check the undergraduate calendar for prerequisites and preclusions. And what a preclusion is that two courses that do not, sorry, two courses that preclude each other for additional credit means you cannot receive credit for both, but it does not mean that they are equivalent per se. So just some general elective suggestions when you're choosing out what electives you want to take throughout your degree. Take electives that genuinely interest you and not just bird courses. So what those are courses that you think will just be very easy. Since if you take courses that genuinely interest you, you may be able to take a certain like 2000s level course down the line. And since we have a lot of electives throughout our degree, you can think about using your electives to do a minor. Bachelor of Computer Science students can add up to two program elements, which is a combination of minor and streams. Just as a note, in past years, you were able to take two minors and a stream. Just as a note for later on when we do our panel, some of our panelists have all like those three, but as of this year, you can either do one minor or a stream or like a combination to add up to two. You can also consider saving courses that will typically be offered online to do on co-op or during the summer. But something to consider there is that not all courses will be offered online every year, so you can't reliably prepare for this. And you also have to consider that courses taking during co-op terms must be online unscheduled courses, or they must start after 4 p.m. Some common electives that CS students take, one of these is Cognitive Science 1001, which is Mysteries of the Mind. And a lot of people take this because it kind of gives a broad overview, like a high-level description of some computer science topics, such as AI, neural networks, and others. And one of the professors that typically teaches this course is Jim Davies, and he is a cross-appointed faculty member, so he is a faculty member in both computer science and cognitive science. Next, we have linguistics courses. So there's Ling 1001, which is Introduction to Linguistics 1, and Ling 1100, which is Mysteries of Language. So why people take linguistics courses typically is that it's a subsection of, it's helpful for natural language processing, which is a topic used when you're trying to look at LLMs, which are like ChatGPT, Anthropic, all of those models are based on large language models. So Intro to Linguistics 1 is a bit more technical than Ling 1100, but Ling 1100 is similar in format to Mysteries of the Mind, since it kind of gives a broad level overview of multiple topics. There's also philosophy courses that are recommended. So there's Phil 2001, which is Introduction to Logic, and Phil 2003. So both of these are kind of similar to a course that you're going to need to take typically within your first year, Comp 1805. So if you enjoyed the logic section of that course, you can consider taking Phil 2001 or 2003. So if you had previously taken courses that may be eligible for transfer credits, such as AP classes, IB classes, French baccalaureate classes, or GSC A-level classes, you may be able to receive advanced standing credit. If you're looking to see if you are eligible, we have the course equivalence page linked, but you can also check with admissions through their email. So next, we just have a section on running your audit. So what your audit is, it is all of the information about your program requirements, such as courses completed, your GPA, your year standing, any minors that you need to take, and just general courses that you'll need to take in order to complete your degree. This is an essential skill that you will use a lot throughout your degree. So I'd suggest you start doing that as soon as you can. We have a link on more information at the top of the slide that has just resources on how to run your audit, and I think some on like how to read your audit and running in a what if audit to see like if you change program elements, how that impacts your degree. So I suggest you check that out sooner rather than later. Um, in terms of um, laptops, the SES does have a certain laptop requirement. So you can see that there's specs there that I'll let you read off yourself. You can also use a MacBook with an M series chip. Something to consider is that the game dev stream does have different requirements just based on the programs you'll be building. So you have to have a Windows computer and you need to have a GPU. And some suggestions when picking out a laptop is choosing one with a good battery life, because not all lecture halls have outlets, and something that is lightweight so you don't break your back when carrying it around campus. And some recommendations given on the SES page are the Dell XPS and Lenovo. If you're looking for more information about this topic, there is a hyperlink at the bottom of the slide. I know that we kind of yapped at you for a bit. This might be a lot of information to process. So we do have most of this information summarized as articles and FAQs on our course registration page. Jack, do you want to click into it to kind of show what that looks like? So you can see there we have a bunch of articles for longer format advice. And we also have quick FAQs that are mostly things that we've covered so far. And then you can find that through our website if you're curious about that. If you have more one-on-one questions, you like to kind of have someone look at your timetable and give you advice, or you just remember you have more questions after this presentation, you can book a time slot with one of our upper year students. And then one last thing, I'd recommend that you join our mailing list if you are looking to participate in our events in the future, to be informed on how to get involved, or some more information throughout the year. So we'll pause here for a minute to give you a chance to scan the QR code. You can also click the link on the slide if you're accessing it later on. Just give it a minute, I'd say.
Mhm. And yeah, just to quickly address the most recent question, we will be posting the slides afterwards. So anything that is linked here, you can visit it afterwards.
I think we should be fine to move on. It is on our website as well for those interested. So we'll be moving on to our student panel portion. Just a disclaimer that everyone experiences are different and that everything that is said during the panel, I suggest that you take it more as a guideline and not as um a like as a resource and not as a guideline to what you particularly need to do. Everyone has different strengths and different weaknesses, so something that someone might do might not be the best for your case specifically. But having said that, I'll let the panelists introduce themselves. So starting from Kimya and just moving down slide order wise, could you give your name, your standing, your stream if applicable, any minors if applicable, and any additional information that you think is relevant?
All right, I'm just gonna say it again. Hi, my name's Kimia. I am going to my second year. I'm in the cybersecurity stream. However, because I just finished my first year, I have not taken any cybersecurity courses yet, but I'm really looking forward to doing so. I have no minors yet. And I don't not no, nothing planned at the moment.
All right, yeah. Hello again. I'm Jack. So yeah, I'm heading into my third year this fall. I just switched into the AI ML stream for my first 2 years. I was not in any stream, but I'm planning on taking a couple of the AI courses this year, so I just switched into it for now. I might switch to cybersecurity at a later point, but I'm not sure yet. And yeah, I do have a minor in film studies, and I'm also an international student here. Plus, I took the C-section in my first year. Yeah.
Hey, I'm Landon. I'm in the middle of my third year right now. Was a co-op last winter. So I've taken some of the cybersecurity courses, and I'm in the cybersecurity stream. I'm in no minor. I also did the Z section in first year, and I found it quite useful.
Hello, everyone. I'm Riley. I'm currently in my fourth year standing. So I just switched to a minor in film recently, and up until recently, I was in the game development stream.
Hi, my name is Nguyen. I'm a fourth year here at Carleton. I'm also in AI ML stream, and I'm minoring in math and psychology.
Okay, awesome. So the next question that we have planned is, are you taking a stream or a minor? Why or why not? And have you switched streams? Why? And are you taking a minor that now that you did not initially register for? And I think we'll do reverse order this time. So, Yoon, can you start us off?
Yeah, so I was in cybersecurity for my first 3 years, mainly just because the AI ML minor or concentration didn't exist until like my third, fourth year. So then I switched into it because it was more interesting.
Yeah. So I was in the game development stream for my first couple of years up until my third year. I really just switched to a major just because I wanted to take the opportunity to just branch out and have more free electives just to kind of try new things. But yep, and I just started taking a minor in film this past year.
So I actually originally started in the AI and machine learning stream. I switched in early second year because I changed my focus. I thought cybersecurity was more interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, as I mentioned, I just switched into the AIML stream this year. Previously, I wasn't in a stream, but yeah, I plan on taking two of the AI courses this year. So being in the stream just gets me registration priority for those, and so I'll see how that goes. If I don't enjoy them, then yes, I might switch to trying out some of the cybersecurity courses. Yeah, I initially, like in my first year, I was honestly planning on doing minors in math and stats, but yeah, as you can see, the plan has changed quite a bit. So I'm just doing a minor in film studies now, just because that's a topic I'm interested in, and I was taking a bunch of electives in that subject anyway. So yeah.
For me, I'm in the cybersecurity stream because out of anything computer science, cybersecurity has just interested me the most, and that was actually the main reason I even went to computer science. So I'm just interested in that.
Okay, awesome. So I'd say like one of the more frequently asked questions by those who register for this event and just in general are what electives they should take. What's one breadth elective you've taken that you would recommend to an incoming student, as well as what's a course you didn't like and why didn't you like it? Starting with Kimia again.
Okay, a course I like that's a breadth, I believe like a film study course I really enjoyed. As well as I took an English course that I really like. So those two are fairly common for people to take. A course I didn't like, probably a math, like a linear algebra, like math, but that's because I'm just not good at math. But a lot of people love that course. It is a good course. It's just math can be difficult.
Right. So for me, the courses that like electives I've enjoyed the most, yeah, would be my film studies elective. So at the moment, I've taken about six courses in that minor now. So yeah, the first year film course, Film 1101, is really interesting. I enjoyed that one a lot. And after that, I've taken just film analysis and history of world cinema in my second year as well. Some courses that I probably would not take now, but did I did do some two law electives as well, so laws 1001 and 1002, just introduction to legal studies. They were pretty interesting as well, but I guess it was just a bit more about especially for laws 1001, it was a bit more about the history of law more so than like the current legal system. So it's not exactly what I was hoping to get out of those courses. So I haven't really taken any more of those yet, but maybe I'll revisit it in the future. And yeah.
So I quite enjoyed actually took philosophy in first year. I quite enjoyed it, although I would not personally take it in upper year courses. I found it a nice change of pace versus the normal science-based courses. And then I also took physics, which I enjoyed, but was quite a lot of work. And then the two course codes for that is Phil 1000 and Physics 1007. One course I did not enjoy was statistics, although you are required to take it. It's just not really my speed.
I would say a course that I really enjoyed in my first year was Mysteries of the Mind, which is I think CGSC 1001. Just because like it's very fun to like learn about like the concept of the mind and like animals, humans, and like computers. And because of that last part, it kind of has a nice like overlap with what you're already learning in computer science. So it's kind of good for like gaining a perspective of how like this field can kind of apply in like other ways than you typically know about. Um, that was a course I enjoyed a lot. I also enjoyed intro to film a lot, just because you get to learn about like the full history from like past to present. And I also just like love learning about how people like kind of approach storytelling. A course that I probably wouldn't take now, but I took earlier is probably Bio 1010, which is just biotechnology and society. It just kind of felt really slide heavy to me. So like for me, it's like I kind of need to have something that's more interactive. I kind of felt like a lot of it may have went over my head. So it wasn't for me, but it could be something that other people in first year could like.
Oh, yeah, so I guess the course that I really liked was planetary astronomy. So I think that's physics 1901. You get to learn a lot about space, and it's actually not that very math intensive, so you don't need actually any like math prerequisites to take the course. It's pretty shallow overview of like a lot of space topics, which I found pretty fun. The one course I didn't really like was CogSci 2001. I don't remember what the name of it is, but essentially it's a sequel to CogSci 1001. There's just a lot of writing, especially compared to CogSci 1001, where it's just test based, and it kind of just does a really shallow overview of like psychology, sociology, and like all those disciplines. So if you're into that, then I guess that'd be the course for you, but I didn't find it particularly interesting.
Awesome. I'll also pitch in my thoughts here. One breadth elective that I've taken that I would honestly recommend to incoming students. If you're a fan of bio, Neuroscience 1202 kind of does a brief overview of neuroscience and how that works, and just like the basic concepts there, like the parts of the brain, like how neurons work, as well as kind of a more neuroscience view into psychiatric diseases, I believe. I took it just recently and I found it very interesting. A course that I particularly didn't really like, I think it's because I didn't really expect it to be the way that it was Psychology 1001. Um, so I feel like this is kind of a common story of people taking it because they think it's easy. I personally thought it was quite difficult because it was very, very bio heavy, and I just found that it might have also just been the instructor that I took the course with, but the exams just felt like regurgitating what was in the textbook, which I personally didn't very enjoy. So the next question is directed at people who have taken Stat 2507. So that's Jack and anyone else. Why did you take the course in first year? And if you didn't, do you wish you had for anyone else? And in comparison to the other two first year math courses, did you find it any more difficult since it's a 2000 level course? And would you recommend that people take it based on your experience? So we'll start with Jack and then continue on to whoever else wants to pitch in their thoughts there.
Right. So yeah, I took Stat 2507 in the fall semester of my first year. Just because I figured I thought that there weren't too many required courses that we have to take, and in your first year, the recommendation is that take 5 electives. But I personally just wanted to do a little more, so I added Stat to 507 as one of the required courses. And yeah, honestly, like compared to the other first year math courses like Calc 1 and Lineage 1, I'd say the workload was more or less the same because it's still just an intro to stats course, even though it's a second 2000 level course. It's not really that much harder, I would say. Um, so yeah, if you're looking to sort of get some of your second year requirements done early, I think it's a pretty good way to get a bit of a head start. And yeah, like since we have so many required 2000 level courses, instead of doing all of them in your second year, getting one or two of them done early is it's pretty helpful. But yeah, if anyone else has thoughts, feel free to share.
I have done it as well. I did it in second year though, not first year. And I would agree with Jack that it is quite similar to the other first year math courses and difficulty. I didn't enjoy the course specifically, it was just not my type. So I kind of liked taking it in second year away from my first year stuff, trying to make first year a bit more enjoyable. But I think I would have been fine with it being in first year or with the second year. It kind of would have been either is okay.
Since no one else is unmuting, I'm gonna assume that no one else has thoughts. I also took Statute 507 in my first year for the same reason as Jack, and I found the workload to be pretty comparable to the first year math courses. I will interweave here, kind of changing topics. Someone in chat asked if you recommend taking more than 5 credits per semester. I know Landon's already answering in chat, but if anyone else wants to pitch in, you can unmute.
Yeah, I was just typing something out, but I was just going to say that you technically can't take more than you can take like up to 6 courses or 3 credits per term after your first year. But yeah, honestly, I think just try out 5 courses right now, and then if you think you can handle more than that, then yeah, by all means, go for 6 courses. But um, yeah, on the other side, it's also perfectly fine to take less than 5 courses. It's fairly common to do that as well. Veronica, I believe you did that in your first term.
Yeah, I took 4 courses initially, just because I wanted to kind of see what the course load is, because it's kind of unpredictable going from high school to university. You don't know like what to expect from a course, which I would honestly recommend doing if you can just afford to do so, because you do have to take one more course later on, maybe during the summer. But I actually would recommend starting with 4 and then seeing if that's good and then going to 5. Some people can definitely handle taking more than 5 credits per term, but as Jack mentioned, I believe that you have to apply. I think you have to submit an override request, or there's a form you have to fill out to be able to take 6 courses. I know Landon unmuted. Do you have a
I have a comment about it.
confirmation?
I would actually not recommend doing 6 courses just because it's going to take up your entire life. You're not going to have any time for anything else. And to avoid burnout, it is just better to like stick with 5 maximum. And then you can do other stuff in your life and enjoy yourself. And on that topic, if you do 5 hard courses, that's going to be worse. So maybe like a good recommendation is only like 3 of your hard courses at once. And that can often end up being maximum of 3 comp courses a semester. That's not a hard rule, that's just a soft rule. I try to follow it and it works kind of well. So,
I'd agree with you on that one. I think we'll continue on to the next question that we have prepared here. This is addressed mostly to Landon and anyone else who has taken the Z section. What was it like? Do you wish, or if you haven't taken it and you'd like to give your thoughts, do you wish you had taken it? Do you regret taking the Z section? And is there anything you wish you knew before taking it? And did you take any other 2000 level courses earlier on after you took the Z section?
yeah,
A lot, but
so I do quite. I'm glad I took the Z section personally. If you have any experience from programming in high school, and it doesn't have to be good programming, just you've touched some programming languages, then I would suggest trying to get in the Z section. It is not hard to back out of it. It is possible, and it won't screw you over. And if you do succeed in it, then you can take. I took 2401 in second semester of first year, and that kind of said me I have to take some like third year courses in second year. And then I took some fourth year courses last fall as well. And I've quite enjoyed it. I've been able to take some electives at a higher level than you otherwise would be able to do. And in terms of difficulty, I hate to say this, but if you're somewhat competent programming, it is not too bad. You do have to have a good work ethic, and you can't just go in expecting it to be easy. That's about all I can say. So one of your courses is going to take double the amount of time, but you're only doing four courses at once. And then you switch from 1405 after reading week to 1406. I think that answered all the questions. I'm not certain.
I think that did. Jack, do you want to pitch in with how you found it? 'Cause I know that you also took this that section.
Yeah, I mean, mostly agree with Lynn. Like, I definitely am glad that I chose to take the Z section, just coming in with enough experience to know all of the content that's covered in those courses. Um, And yeah, I also took I think Comp 2402 in the winter of my second year, just to get one of it's one of the harder second year courses. So getting that done early was definitely useful because and then I was able to start taking third year courses in my second year. So I've completed two of the third year required third year courses already. So yeah, it definitely helps you get like a good head start, even just by taking one or two courses earlier. It definitely makes a difference. Yeah.
Just to chime in about this again, you do not have to have experience in programming or yeah, just programming to do the Z section at all. You can go in with zero prior experience. You are going to have to put in a little bit extra work. It's not going to be insane. It's just going to be a little bit extra to get up to speed. It is designed where you can come into the course, not have any prior knowledge, and succeed. And then I'm also going to answer the person's question that they asked, how likely is it to get into the 1405 and 1406 set section? From my experience, not too hard. If you have the required grade and you do the registration override request like decently early, you're basically guaranteed. If you don't have the required average, then there's not much that can go on. They might let you in. I don't really think they do, though.
I will just add to that. So like as of this year, since the Z section is a requirement for Bachelor of Cybersecurity students, it may be it's being able to register as a computer science student. It just depends on A, if you have the required grades, and B, if there actually is space in the course. Because compared to other sections, it's relatively small. Like I think as far as I know, there's about 70-ish spots. So yeah, if it just fills up, then you might just be out of luck. But yeah, I'm not exactly sure how many CS students might be able to register for it.
Awesome. I do see a question in the chat about the math refresher course. I think it's called Math Matters, if I remember. And if we know when this course will be available. I just wanted to loop Mylin in if and ask if you know anything about how that course is being offered.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, I was actually just trying to look that up because I saw that in the chat as well. I'm not sure if I thought they offered it maybe closer to the summer or closer sometime in August, and I was trying to look for information, but I wasn't able to find it on the website about Math Matters. So I'll see if I can find it. Maybe we can include it. If I find the information, I'll include it in the link. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, I was also trying to look for it, but I couldn't find it for whatever reason. But yeah, I think we continue on to next question. Um, our next question is just kind of like, did you have any professors that you particularly liked taking courses with? And I guess for order wise, we'll start with Kimia and then move our way down.
All right, thank you. One professor that does come, actually, I'm thinking of two professors right now. But one professor, I don't know if he's like he said he would retire. I'm not sure if he's still here, but Michael Runts, he did the biology couple courses. He was a phenomenal person and teacher. In terms of comp sci teachers, I really enjoyed taking H&F with Alina Shikett. She was a wonderful professor and she's extremely compassionate for students. Um, but yeah, that's
Yeah, for me, I would say a couple of them that stand out. So I took uh, Comp 1805 with Alexa Sharp. So I believe she's teaching that again in the fall semester this year. And yeah, I would say out of all of the just computer science professors I've had, she's one of my absolute favorites. Like she's super passionate about the content, and she's always open to feedback about the course. Like I've taken both Comp 1805 and Comp 2402, so data structures and algorithms with her. And yeah, she has like even made the effort to make changes to her evaluations like during the semester and just adjust assignments or tests based on student feedback. So yeah, she's one that I would definitely recommend. Another one would be I think Connor Hillen is another really good instructor. Like again, he is also is really excited about whatever course he teaches. I believe he teaches like I personally took Comp 241, so Intro to Systems Programming with him, and yeah, again he's I think his course is structured very well. It was pretty flexible in terms of the grading breakdown, and yeah, he's always open to answering questions and helping you out whenever needed. So those would be a couple of computer science profs I enjoyed. Just want to mention outside of required courses, I mentioned the Intro to Film course earlier. I think that taking it with Mark First now is a really good idea. Like he is a really good lecturer. His lectures are always interesting. I've now taken, I think, 4 courses with him so far, and yeah, I try to any course that he's teaching, I try to take that as well. So outside of CS, that would be another recommendation.
I would have a recommendation for Mark Lanthier. I might have mispronounced his last name. I took 2401 with him, and if you actually show up to class, it is incredibly easy to understand his topics. He does a really good job at describing them, and his notes are so good that you may not have to take notes yourself. So. I think we had a request to touch on co-op, so I'm just gonna kind of start on that if that's okay.
I think we'll wait until we finish this question and we can talk about that after. If Riley,
Okay.
you want to give your opinion on the question that we previously asked.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so for my favorite professors, one of them for me for sure was Connor Hillen. I had him for Intro to Game Dev 1, which is I think Comp 1501. I liked him a lot just because he was like very patient. Like I feel like he had a really good way for like asking questions, and he was never felt very rushed in his lectures. His assignments were like very engaging, but also like pretty fair. And like they always, each one was always like, it was almost like each one had a very unique goal, I guess, in mind. Like you never really, it always had like some sort of twist to it. Like I'm pretty sure for that class, we got to actually write like our own like code to make like battle bots, and then we had like a tournament to like put them against each other. So that was pretty cool. I think that was for our final project, and then we also got to like write a paper like analyzing our favorite game and like why the mechanics and like systems like synergize. So like stuff like that is like he was always like finding ways to keep us engaged because the assignments were very well done. Um, Other than that, I would also say, like previously, Alina Shaiket was awesome. She paced her content very well, and she gives really good feedback for assignments, and she just has like a really good attitude. So yeah, she's really good too.
Yeah, I guess for my professor that I really liked was Pat Morin. He I don't think he teaches Comp 242 anymore, but he used to teach Comp 242 and he also taught Comp 2804. He just is really good at explaining topics, like really good at breaking them down. And he also like posts all his content up on YouTube. So like even if you like miss a lecture, you can just like watch it online and like catch up. So I think he's one of the Go professors.
Yeah, I think I have to agree with the Pat Morin point. Another professor that I don't think was mentioned yet is Jim Davies. We mentioned him in the slides, but I'd say like if you can take a course with him, his lectures are very, very engaging, and I'd say like probably one of the best lectures I've ever had. But yeah, I think we can now talk a bit more about the co-op point that was mentioned earlier. I guess here we can probably talk more about like the experiences and anything else that we can think of. Landon, do you want to get started since you were gonna answer it earlier?
Sure. So just to start, I will say we as a CCSS will run many info sessions about co-op throughout the year. I think we're going to try to run maybe 1 or 2 for semester, and then definitely a whole bunch in early January. Your co-op semesters will start after second year. You have to take Comp 2000 2404 before you can do that. That's just something to keep in mind. And then the general experiences, it can be kind of hard to get a co-op. But once you get one, it can be quite beneficial. I'm currently working at Kinaxis in Canada here in Ottawa. I'm quite enjoying it. I'm a software tester. So I'm basically just a member of the team. Other team members will finish some work. I get to make sure everything's done up to code, and then write tests for it, make sure everything's running smoothly, investigate any errors. If people have any specific questions about what happens during a co-op semester, like I can answer that. But other than that, I would suggest it doing co-op if you can get it. Does anyone
Um,
else have comments about that?
yeah, I'll just add on a couple of things. Just a bit about how like starting off with the co-op search works is essentially the standard pattern is that in the fall semester of your second year, you would take Co-op 1000. So it's just a course meant to sort of prepare you for the job search. It'll cover stuff like how to do interviews or make your resume and things like that. And then in the winter semester of your second year, you can start actually searching for jobs through the Carleton Co-op job board. And then you are also allowed to look for jobs outside of the co-op board. And as long as it's relevant to your field of study, so like computer science, then you can do a self-directed job search and then get that approved as a co-op term as well. Just to quickly answer the question in chat, what GPA do we require to be eligible for co-op? Yes, it is 8.0 or higher, and that both your major GPA and CGPA and overall CGPA need to be over 8.0. And yeah, for me personally, I'm currently on my first co-op term at RBC in Toronto, just working as a data engineer. Yeah, it's been, and yeah, I'm planning to go back to school in the fall and then looking for another co-op for the winter. So I will mention that as well, that the standard work study pattern is that after your second year, the summer after your second year and the fall of your third year technically supposed to be co-op terms, but generally you can request to change that pattern if you want. So I personally would rather be in school in the fall, so I'm just going to request to do a co-op term in the winter instead. So yeah, it's pretty flexible in that sense as well.
Are there any other comments on that? I know Yi is also on co-op right now, so I don't know if he wants to give his opinions.
Yeah, I mean, I can just chime in. I think what everyone said is kind of covered over the most important points. What I will say is just kind of relationship of in relation to like all the registration and stuff. Co-op does affect the type of courses that you will take, especially if you deviate off of the sequence that like Carlton puts you in by default. So just kind of take a note of that first year it's less of a problem because you will most likely take courses in the fall and winter. But when you do go in co-op and then you have the situation where you might be like going to school in the fall, then like working in the winter, and then like working in the summer, then like coming back in the fall, like you have to be wary of like how you plan out your courses and how you're going to plan out your degree. So that's just something to keep in mind.
Yeah, okay, awesome. So I'll move on with one of our pre-prepared questions. And I'm unsure if there's any international students in the call right now, but I guess people might be watching the recording. So this is more so a question to Jack. How has being an international student affected your time at Carleton? Did this affect course registration? And what things are different than a typical student? And is there anything in hindsight that you wished you'd knew as an international student?
Yeah, so as an international student, just the general environment has been really welcoming. It's been super fun. I've had no issues being an international student here so far. Everyone is super nice. Just in terms of course registration generally, it does affect a couple of things a little bit. So one thing would be that one of the things we said is that it's one thing you can consider doing is just taking fewer courses per term. That is a bit harder as an international student, mainly because our tuition fees is much higher. So If you're taking, for example, like four courses in your fall and winter semesters and then planning on taking a couple of courses in the summer, then that is going to be more expensive for us than just a domestic student. So as far as I'm pretty sure the most cost efficient way is to just take five courses per term in your fall and winter semesters. And the other thing is, I think there are if you're planning on applying, like staying, applying for like a work permit after graduating, I believe one of the requirements is that you must be a full-time student in each study term. I believe that is a requirement for being in the co-op program as well. But yeah, so if something you can't really do is be a part-time student in one of the terms. But yeah, honestly, I think that those are the only things that are really different about us, about registering as a international student. So, yeah, it's just slightly less flexibility in terms of reduced course loads and stuff would be the main thing I would say. But yeah, other than that, it's more or less similar to everyone else.
Awesome. I'll just point out a couple of things before we move on to the next question. Mylin has added uh, some like the link to the math and stats bootcamp for high school students. For the person who had a question about that. I'm not sure if you saw it. And also, she added a point on the Center for Initiatives in Education academic prep. So if you're also interested, there's a link about that in the chat. And Landon also mentioned that if you want to do a research internship at the end of your first year, you can look at DSRI, which is Dean Summer Research Internship, I believe is the acronym.
Yeah, it is.
And we do run info sessions about this during the year as well, but there's a link there for anyone interested about that.
Just to
Our next,
clarify,
oh,
sorry,
sorry, go
I
for
thought you
it.
were pausing. The DSRI does not count as a co-op, but it is a paid position for the summer of your first year only.
Yeah, awesome. So the next question that I have planned here is, what do you think often causes incoming students to not be successful in their first year of university? Is there any piece of advice you'd want to offer incoming students? And I think we'll start with Kimia again and then move down as usual.
Okay. Some the like a lot of students, first year students will struggle with university because of the difference between high school, especially people who go straight into university, if like it's their first time. Absolutely, there's a lot of resources. Always look into those. Carleton offers a lot of academic and personal resources. So absolutely use those. Find people, perhaps in your program or even outside of programs, that can definitely help. There's just like don't like it university it's not difficult, it's just a lot of work. So always, yeah, just put in that work.
Yeah, a couple of points I would mention would be yeah, just the going from high school to university, it's definitely different in terms of just your workload and how much freedom you have, I guess. Like no one, you're not gonna have as much supervision in terms of whether you're actually doing your course evaluations and stuff. If you miss an assignment, then you just don't get the grade for it, and that's it. So it's really just on you to sort of stay on top of everything and make sure you're getting things done on time. Yeah, the other thing I would like to say would just be classes are one thing, and yeah, that's I guess that is the main thing you're going to university for, but definitely make use of the fact that you're in an environment where there's tons of other people with the same interests as you, and just make sure you're meeting lots of people, going to events, and just doing things on campus because there's always stuff happening. So don't just sort of lock in on your classes the entire time, and just make sure you're going out there meeting people as well. Yeah.
Just to extend on that, there's no one that's obviously watching you, making sure you go to class. There's no one that's making sure you do your assignments on time. There's not going to be many more reminders about your assignments. You kind of just have to manage that yourself. So I've personally seen a lot of first year students start skipping classes quite early, not going to any other classes, and then struggling because of that. So a big thing for me, at least, is just self-regulation. Make sure you go to class. Try to get a good sleep all the time. Make sure you're actually doing social events, but not too many of them. Not like you want to go out drinking every night. But yeah, I think that's mostly the major things, to be honest.
I would say the tips I would give is like I feel like a lot of people make like the mistake of like not balancing out school with like everything else that's going on in your life. Like school is probably like while you're here, it's gonna be like your number one commitment, and like you gotta take that seriously. Like it's a very big deal for obvious reasons, but like I feel like burnout is like that's if anything's gonna like really like tank, I guess, your experience, it's gonna be burning yourself out and trying to do like too much too fast. So like you gotta look after like your physical and mental health. Like you gotta eat well, socialize, join a club, like call your family and friends just to talk to them. Just like make sure you like look after yourself first. And then like once you start doing that, like your outside life and I guess your school life, like those go hand in hand. Like one will help out the other if you take care of both. That's kind of like the best outcome. Um, and yeah, just also just like make friends in your classes. Like I think knowing people in your classes when like you it just makes a lot of stuff more bearable and it takes a lot of stress off and it's just a more fun experience.
Yeah, I agree with what everyone said so far. I think the biggest thing is that like trouble students is like the pace that university goes. So like in high school, like everything's pretty standardized. Like you'll have like a pretty standard pace throughout like I guess 8, 9 months of the school year. But in university, you can have like nothing for 2 weeks, and out of nowhere you have like three exams. And then especially around reading week, so like 2 months into your semester, that's when it really kicks into gear. So the main thing is just not getting complacent and making sure like you're planning out everything and then being aware of like deliverables and assignments and things like that. And I guess my piece of advice, other people have touched on it, but yeah, just really just get to know people in your class. Not all professors like post lecture notes, so like if you have to like skip a lecture for some reason, it's really nice to be able to know people and like be able to ask people for their notes on occasion just to make sure you're not behind in your classes.
Yeah, add on to this question. Yeah, I think something that makes students kind of what makes university more difficult than high school is, as people mentioned, like no one's actually like keeping you accountable, so you really have to keep yourself accountable. And also there's just a lot more at play. Like your schedule is usually less standardized than it is in high school. Like you might have classes at like different times in the day. So you just have to like make sure that you're scheduling, like you know how you're structuring your days. You might also have extra responsibilities that you don't have in high school. So it's like if you're working a job or you're trying to do like extra, like if you want to do like research or you're in a bunch of other clubs, that can also be a burden. And you need to be sure to schedule your time efficiently, which you might not have had to do very like the same way in high school. But yeah, in terms of tips, I would actually really recommend people join clubs, especially those like I feel like joining some within your major and like outside of your major is beneficial. I personally did dance and it lets you meet just a bunch of people outside of your own program. And I think just having something scheduled into your week, whether that be like a meeting with other people or if you do like a sport you will have practices. I think having that sort of interaction is very nice, especially in university you have a chance to meet like so many different people and you really want to take advantage of that. I think I saw in the Google form a question about club options, so I'll just post in the chat the CUSA club directory, which has I believe a couple hundred or at least 100 different clubs that you can look into joining. There's also the club expo at the very beginning of the year, the same day as your fall orientation. So you can also just explore all the different options there, but I think it's a very, very good opportunity to meet people. Any last thoughts before we move on to the next question? I'm gonna assume no. Um, okay, so the next question that I have planned is what is something you wish you knew in first year that you know now? It does not necessarily have to be course related, or what is one tip you'd want to give to students? And we can start from Union and then work our way backwards just for some variety.
I guess the first thing, I guess the main thing I didn't know is how much like teaching assistants help you in courses, especially in like the tougher ones, like the algorithm ones. They're there just to literally sit there and help you. That's their job. So if you have like lots of questions, you don't even have to go in person, just like emailing. like TAs and stuff like that will definitely get you unblocked, and well, will attempt to try and get you unblocked. But that's something I guess that I try to recommend to first year students, just like leverage all your resources. It's not just using just assistance, depending on the course. Actually no, they canceled Pass now, so Pass doesn't exist. But like, just try and leverage all your resources that you have in your course to try and help you. Probably my main advice.
Yeah, I think my advice would be probably like a little similar to that. Like I would just say like the number one thing like I didn't do that much until I looked into it was just like review anything that's graded and you get like feedback returned alongside your grade, like look at it. Like for me, sometimes I would just like get a mark that I wasn't happy with and like maybe out of spite, maybe out of like laziness, I'd be like, I'm not going to look at this anymore. And then I wouldn't look at it like ever again. But like looking at the feedback for like assignments or quizzes or whatever you get from back from the prof or the TAs is like super important because like it's easy to dismiss them, but like that's kind of like how that's the only way you're going to grow really is like you got to make the mistakes before you're going to get better at it. So like once I took the feedback a lot more seriously for like assignments and started like what Nguyen said, like asking questions and like going to tutorials and stuff, I feel like my work improved a lot. It was like leaving stuff unanswered when it's like you could literally like spend an extra 10 seconds like getting that question answered is like just an obvious pro. Like you might as well ask a question because like no there's a good chance no one will ask it for you. So yeah.
Yeah, I would very much agree with the previous two statements. And I would build on upon that by just by saying the second you skip a course on a specific day, if you don't like immediately catch back up on it, it's really hard to get back into the habit of going to that course because you just feel like you're behind and you're constantly playing catch up. And that is a really good way to be extremely stressed before an exam or a midterm. So do your best to avoid that. My other recommendation is if you get an assignment, even like the first day, just look at the requirements of the assignment. You don't have to start it, you don't have to do anything. Just look at the requirements. It gives you a mental picture about like how much time you have to spend on that assignment to get it done, and it kind of helps you manage your time so you don't have to start it too late and do it like the night before, which a lot of people do, and it often doesn't go well. So yeah, do that and then start your assignments early as well.
Um, yeah, so for me, yeah, agree with everything that's been said so far, and just to mention a couple of other things. I guess I would say Um, don't compare yourself to like what others are doing. I have seen people that just, most people will follow like the recommended, for example, recommended like set of courses to take in your first year. So just you're doing like a bunch of electives and then just the required first year courses. And then I've also seen people that just take 10 required courses in their first year and just try to speed run getting all of the requirements done. So just just do what works for you. People do things differently. No approach is wrong. So yeah, just don't compare yourself to others in that sense. And yeah, I sort of mentioned it before, but just make sure you're getting to know people in your classes, outside of classes, just going to events and doing things on campus because that experience and those connections will for sure be useful later on. Taking classes with people is also definitely better than just doing one by yourself, because you're all sort of suffering together for a hard class, or you can just sort of get support from others and like have the um, sort of hold each other accountable for getting things done on time. So that definitely helps. And yeah, the last thing I would mention is that your plans can change for your degree as you're sort of going through it. Like as I mentioned, I before starting my first year, I was planning to do a minor in stats and math, and then I took my first math and stats course and realized I have zero interest in actually doing that. So I decided not to do either of them. I also started in those streams, sort of just planning on trying different things out, and that is what I'm doing now. I'm still not exactly sure what I want to end up in, but yeah, I'm just trying things out still. So yeah, those would be a couple of pieces of advice I have.
Okay, I absolutely agree with everything that's been said. Talk to your professors and look at the syllabus. It's almost every question you'll ever have is on the syllabus, and that's given at the start of the term. All your like everything most things you're gonna do, the grade markdown as previously said, and just like all general like policy information will be on that class syllabus. So definitely look at that.
Yeah, I guess I'll just add on a bit. As Jack said, like, don't compare yourself to others, and also don't feel the need to rush things too much. One of my biggest regrets is trying to take a bunch of comp courses in a given term, because once you get past first year, the load of courses starts to get pretty intense. So by wanting to rush things a bit, I burnt myself out a bit. And I don't know, pace yourself, don't feel like there's too much of a rush. You do have 5 years with if you're taking co-op or 4 years if you're not to get all those courses done. I'd say like finding a balance is hard, but it's definitely possible. I wouldn't say it's worth sacrificing sleep, although I am a hypocrite for those of you who know me. Um, it's not worth sacrificing sleep over to do something sometimes. But finding the balance is very, very hard. Um, yeah, I guess having said that, that was my last question I had planned. Are there any other questions that you guys have in chat? And I guess while saying that, I'm gonna say that if you have any one-on-one questions that you're a little shy to ask, like in chat, but you want to book a call, you can always book a one-on-one with um, an upper year student later on. We're doing those until July 4th, I think, but availability depends on the given person you want to book with. I'm not seeing any questions, so if there's any additional ones, we can answer them at the end. But Jack, can you go to the next slide, please? We do have some upcoming social events for those of you who may be interested in meeting some of your fellow students. We have one in person actually tomorrow. For those of you in Ottawa, we will be going on a hike. Riley, do you want to chime in and give more info about that one?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. So basically, the plan is just to kind of get everyone out and socializing and out in the sun. We're going to be meeting, I believe the specific like details and like travel things are up on our website. But we are pretty much going to be meeting at Pindigan Park, and we're going to be taking a shuttle just to go see Gatineau Park. Specifically, we're going to be walking around the Pink Lake Trail. So basically all you have to do, I'm pretty sure if you're like someone who's like going from somewhere near Carleton, you can just take the 10 main line bus and that should bring you like pretty much like right next to the park, or it'll just be like a 10-minute walk away. Once again, like if you go to like ccss.carleton.ca, I think, and go to the event page, it has all the finer details there if you need to see it. But yeah, it's probably just going to be like, I don't know, hour and a half hike after we get off of the shuttle, and it should be a good time.
Okay, awesome. And for those of you that are online or who prefer to attend events online or may not be in Ottawa yet, we do have a summer game night coming up next week. And we have a fun variety of games. I believe on the docket we have Among Us and we're getting the other ones.
I believe the ones on the website, we're going to play stuff like Scribble.io, Among Us, like you said, um, GeoGuessr, um, Arctic Phone, a few other things like that. So like a lot of fun, like smaller web games, just kind of smaller games, easy to get into. So
Yeah. I think we can go to the next slide. But yeah, I'd like to thank you all for staying until the end. I hope you found this helpful, and I'm very excited to get to meet some of you when on campus or at our events. If I see you, I'd be very happy to see you guys at the hike tomorrow. Come touch grass with us, or at the social event next week. Um, yeah, and I see a question in chat, but those of you who don't have any more questions, you're free to go. Have a nice rest of your day and have a lovely weekend. Happy Canada Day. But yeah, there's a question in the chat of what to do if the course is full when you're registering. Yeah, as Kimmy said, you can request to be put on the wait list. 'Cause some people will drop the course with like before the school year starts or within the first couple of weeks of school. So you can register for those courses at the beginning of the year until the deadline hits. I think Mylin unmuted. I don't know if you have more points to say there, but
I
go
did.
ahead.
So not all courses have wait lists. So unfortunately, if the course is full, you're just going to have to go back and check to see if students drop and if an opening becomes available. More of the popular courses or high demand courses, which require streams, we do put wait lists on and we do monitor the wait lists because we do have certain courses that are core for certain streams. So those ones for sure will have wait lists on, and we monitor those and try to get the students who need the course in before we allow others. So unfortunately, you'll just have to go back and check if there's no wait list, okay?
Just to add to that, sometimes there is another section you can apply for. So 1405, that's Comp 1405, will probably have 3, 4 sections. I don't know the exact number yet. If you can't get into the one you specifically want, sometimes you just have to go for a different time slot. It might not be as nice. It might be late in the day. You might not like it, but you just have to do it. I, for one, in first year, had to take a math course that started at 7 p.m. and it was not very fun, but I just had to do it.
Yeah, good point, Landon.
Just to answer a couple of other questions, people asked where they can find the recording. So if you go on our website and go to the events tab, you can find the event card for this event specifically here. We will just link the recording on this page down here soon, hopefully by tonight. So yeah, feel free to refer to that anytime after. And yeah, we'll add a link to the slides here as well.
I'll just add to that too. I'm going to get our undergraduate advisors to send out an email to all the mass email that originally went out requesting people to attend this event. I think it was wonderful. There's lots of really wonderful tips and ideas that you guys have shared. So we'll also share that link by email as well.
All right, sounds good. So yeah, if there are no other questions, we'll go ahead and end this here. But yeah, thanks again for joining. And yeah, we'll look forward to seeing you in September.
Thank you. Have a nice rest of your day.